What's going on, guys? Welcome to Joy's 40K's channel. So today I want to start a matchup analysis. So what I will do is going through the next videos, like that I'll do is going through some matchups, EC versus whatever you guys will decide. Today I started with Ultramarines, the poster boys. And then I'll let my subscribers decide in the comments what will be the next matchup that I'll do in the next videos. So today I wanted to start with Ultramarines because most people have Ultramarines in their meta. It's a popular army, and it's an army that we want to know how to face for sure. So the video will be, I'll look at the typical list that we have in the meta at the moment after the slate, and then typical before also. We'll also look at the strength of Ultramarines versus us, and then what's our strength versus Ultramarines. And then I also want to compare because I'm playing Court of the Phoenician right now. So what I'll do is I'll go with like what's our strength with Court of the Phoenician, and at the end I'll tell if I believe that Court is better than Coterie in this specific matchup, and I'll do the same for every video, basically, because there's some matchup that Coterie is better, and there's some matchup that Court of the Phoenician is better, and then that's my opinion, of course. So you're allowed to disagree, but right now I'm playing a lot of Court of the Phoenician, so my recent experience is with Court, but I also have at least 60, if not more, games of Coterie as well. It's not recent, but like a couple months ago. So let's start with typical list of Ultramarines. So you'll have either there's two detachments usually, either Blades of Ultramar, that's the most popular at the moment, or Gladius. So the difference between the Gladius and Blade of Ultramar, the big one, is the stratagem. So in Gladius, you'll have the fight on death stratagem. That's really bad for us. We don't like to see fight on death. And then in Blades of Ultramar, you have, instead of fight on death, you have the -1 to wound if you're equal or higher strength. So this is also pretty good, but to be honest, for us, Gladius is worse because we don't want to see fight on death. And then for Blades of Ultramar, you can also spam the doctrines if you need it. So advance and charge, for example, you can have it 3 turns in a row if you'd like, versus Gladius where you can only use it once. So that's a little difference as well that Blades of Ultramar's players love. What else you'll see for units, you'll have Victrix for sure. Even though they got nerfed, they're still pretty good. So you'll still see at least one brick of 6 for sure in most lists. You'll probably see some executioners because right now they're really good into Catan and Necrons. So you'll see some most likely. They're hard to deal for us because that toughness 12 is always a problem for us. You'll also see some Redemptor most likely, or Ballistus Dreadnoughts, because again they're good into Catan, and the -1 damage from Redemptor is pretty good. You'll see either Guilliman or Calgar. I know Calgar right now just got nerfed because he lost the best version with the 2 Victrix, but he's still pretty good. Still gives advance and charge, fallback charge to his unit, so we'll still most likely see him in a Victrix brick. You also have a chance of seeing Uriel Ventris, still very popular, to deep strike the Victrix brick or whatever you picked. And then you'll still see most of the time Sicaris that makes you flat 6 reactive move. And then you'll probably, most lists will also have Vindicator. Vindicator is still pretty good with ult +1 to wound, full reroll to hit. Will do a lot of damage in the meta right now, and Necrons, Catans. Vindicator is always good with the toughness 11, 2 and the 2-up saves. Always a good tank. So let's look at lists that I've seen. I've done good right after the slate. You'll see one's a little bit weird, but did pretty good. And then there's one that did good also in team. So let's look at this one here. As you see, it didn't went undefeated, but It was pretty close to just what I said. So you have the Combi Lieutenant, you have Calgar, you have Uriel, you have Intercessor, Impulsor, you have Assault Intercessors times 5, you have 3 Ballistas, 2 Executioners, 6 Vitrix, and the Wardens of Ultramarine. So that's a really good list out there. And then it's a typical list that you can see. Let's look at the other list that was a team format, because I know most of us are playing in team format as well. So if you look at this one, it's a little bit more skewed, a little bit done for team format. I don't know if we would see that into a singles list, because it's a little bit skewed with 3 Executioner, Gulliman, Sicaris, Iriel, Intercessors, and then you have the Captain and Gravis with Artificer. You have 3 Vitrix and 6 Vitrix as well, and 2 Combi Lieutenant. So you can see there that you can target specific matchup that cannot deal with Executioner, and then you have a lot of firepower there. So it's a pretty good team list there that did very good. I think the team tournament was in Sweden or in Europe, but the player went undefeated. So that's right after the slate. So you can see their variant of the list. Let's talk now about the strength of Ultramarine to watch when we play against them. So the first thing is they have crazy firepower. So whatever they want dead, they'll just kill it basically. There's no way they won't kill whatever they need to. So let's say in our case we have Fulgrim. We have to make sure that when we use him that we get some value out of him, because then after that the next turn he's gonna die. There's no questions. He will die for sure. Ultramarine will kill whatever they need to kill with that Oath of Moment. It's full reroll to hit, +1 to wound. They'll kill like a Vindicator, Executioner shooting at the target will kill their target. So that's something we have to keep in mind. The attrition war will be, we'll talk about it later, but the attrition is really strong for Ultramarine. They have tons of CP, so if they go with Gulliman, they can have like that CP reduction. If they go with Calgar, they'll have the extra CP, so they can have access to tank, shock, and grenade whenever they want, on top of all their CP that they need to for like whatever they need to do. They'll do it on top of having access to grenade, and like it's not costing them a lot to do a grenade or a tank shock because they have so many CP. So that we have to keep in mind too, because that's even more power that they can use to make sure that they kill their targets. So we don't have, in Court of Definition, we don't have access to that Feel No Pain 4-up that Coldry would have. So the tank shock and the grenades always help to kill Fulgrim or Winged Demon Prince. So we have to make sure we keep that in mind when we play. The Armor of Contempt's pretty big there, especially if you play Coterie. Like if you're Lord with the 5 Infractors will charge, and they do Armor of Contempt, you most likely won't do much damage there. So it's a big thing for them to have Armor of Contempt, and they can spam it because they have tons of CP. The Doctrine is super good, like extreme versatility. So they can, if they need Advance and Charge, they'll have it. Especially in Blades of Ultramar, they can spam any Doctrine they want. So if they need a fall back and charge, they'll have it. If they need advance and shoot, they'll have it. So you need to also keep that in mind when you play, that it's going to be hard for to tag them. So when we commit something, we have to make sure we kill it, because other than that, even if we leave it at 1 wound, then that unit will still do a lot of work. Because they can fall back, they can do whatever they want, basically. A little bit like us, to be honest. It's that's one of our strengths as well, but they have it on top of having crazy firepower. They also have lots of armor and toughness right now at the moment. When you look at their list, lots of armor with Executioner, 2 or 3 Executioner in most lists. You have also like the Dreadnoughts that are there, that are tough to kill. Not as much for Ballistas, but the Redemptor will be tough to kill. The Victrix for us could be tough to kill. We have some tools though compared to other to other armies, like for example the Winged Demon Prince doing moral before we start the fight phase, and then we also have the fight first from Fulgrim, and then we also have our guns that they don't like at all, like the Ultramarines. If we spend that CP going at -3, they don't like that at 3 flat, now that they're 3 wounds each. It's not fun for them. We have to keep in mind though that they can blood surge, so that's also another thing that we have to make sure. In one of my recent game, what I did is shoot with the Kako unit and then put like a Rhino close, so if they have the blood surge, they go into the Rhino. And then you also bank on the fact that they'll have to take that battle shot test, and then hopefully they failed it. And then if they do, then they can't blood surge at all. So that's great for us. And in this specific game, they end up failing the battle shock, so they didn't even go into my Rhino. So that was perfect for me. So this is the strength we have to keep in mind when we're playing the game for Ultramarines. Let's look now at our strength. The tools that we have for that matchup. So speed, we have a lot of speed compared to, yes, Ultramarines can advance and shoot, fall back, shoot, advance and charge, but we still have more speed than them. So this is something we can use at our advantage for sure, and most of the matchup will always use our speed at our advantage. This is the biggest strength we have. This with Thrill Seeker or Army Rolls, always a super strong stuff that we have in our back pocket. We can shift the battle where we need to with our speed, so that's always something to keep in mind. The Ultramarine strat, pretty big in that matchup when you play Coterie. The fact that their gun goes strength 6 when you play, not Coterie, but Court. When you go to strength 6 AP2, even if they do Armor of Contempt, you'll still be AP1 in your cover, so still do some damage. And then the AP3 is massive too, so you go to AP2 in your cover if they do Armor of Contempt, so you'll still do some damage there. Like if you don't have that, then they do Armor of Contempt, or guns are not doing that much, so this is something to keep in mind. Another massive tools that we have is that +1 strength, +1 AP. It's so big in the matchup to have +1 AP on the charge. Most of the time will be like the difference between him not bothering with doing an Armor of Contempt versus doing Armor of Contempt. So when I tell my opponent that my Lord will be AP4 on his once per game, my opponent is like, well, I won't do Armor of Contempt, but there's no point with full reroll to wound on the objective, hitting on 2s with lethal 8 attacks. My opponent is like, yeah, I won't bother doing Armor of Contempt, so you guarantee the kill right there. And even if he does Armor of Contempt, well, you still have AP3 on your Lord and AP1 on your Infractor, because you're AP2 now instead of AP1, so that's a big difference as well to chunk a Vindicator on an objective, or a Dreadnought, or like you could set up like a Disembark from the Rhino, move up, so that's a 10-inch movement basically to try to throw a grenade on top of it to secure kill into a Redemptor. When you charge, you'll be AP4, so even if he does Armor of Contempt, he still saves on 5s, so that's a very good odds of killing a Redemptor right there. And same thing for a big executioner, like they're 3-up saves, so when you charge, you wound on 4s because you're strength 8, wound on 4s, full reroll if he's on the objective, AP4, so that's straight through. So everything that goes through, let's say you have like you hit on 2s with lethal, so you're gonna do a big chunk of damage. You're maybe not gonna kill it, but on average, I didn't calculate the average to be honest, but you're gonna do a big chunk of damage right there. So if you can go with Ultramarines into shooting as well, you're probably gonna kill that executioner. Big difference there, the +1 strength, +1 AP. And then you also have the blood surge combined with the -1 to wounds. So sometimes in the matchup, the V-Trix will commit, and then you'll be like, okay, well, I have blood surge, don't forget about it. So let's say they shoot they want to shoot your Lord with 5 Infractors. Well, if they don't put oats on it, and then it's just like a unit of, let's say, a Redemptor shooting at them, that will happen. That will do the -1 to wound, and then the Redemptor will roll a 1, for example, on the number of shots without oat, with -1 to wound, with cover. You'll save a couple guys, then you can Blood Surge into the Vitrix to start doing some decent work into them. Even though you didn't charge, you'll still do decent work before they can swing at you. So that's always something the Ultramarine player has to take into consideration. So sometimes he's going to be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to shoot, and then that's a win-win situation for us. So more chance of him whiffing and not killing your old unit. Let's say it's 3 Vitrix, for example, and then he charge you, then there's a good chance that your guys will if like the 5 infractors might die, but the Lord might still be alive. There's a good chance. And then if he shots with a Redemptor and charge with the 3, then there's most likely no chance for them to survive. So that's something to take into consideration. You can also always have the -1 to wound on in your back pocket on Fulgrim if the Ultramarines player decide to not put oat on Fulgrim when he goes for his when you committed Fulgrim into his line, basically. So you kind of have to give oat on Fulgrim, because then if he's not ulting Fulgrim, you do -1 to wound, and it's really bad for him, the odds to kill Fulgrim, especially if you have a full not a full reroll, but a reroll on a save there, and he has only like 2 Executioners shoot at you without oat. Good luck killing him. Another tool that's very important is the poison from Fulgrim. So what I try to do every time I play in that matchup is to spread the poison as much as I can with shooting, with combat. So when I charge Fulgrim, I'll spread my attacks if in a multi-charge, to put some of his extra attack into another unit to poison this unit. Then my shooting will go into a 3rd unit to poison everything I can, because like Ultramarines, they're really tough, but they don't like to be poisoned and start losing a lot of wounds. And then at the end of the game, it makes a difference. If a Redemptor's poison for like 3 or 4 turns, at the end of the game, it will make a difference when you charge it or grenade and stuff like that. So poison is really strong in that matchup. So that's something to keep in mind. So now, how do we win this game? So for me, this matchup is really even based on skill. It's not like when I go in that matchup, I'm not like, oh my god, it's a slam dunk, I'm going to win that game for sure. It's a pretty even matchup. It's a game where you need to play your stuff correctly, or you're going to die and get tabled. You have to keep in mind that the scenario is very important. Ultramarines can be a little bit more weak, not weak, but like not as strong as us on the primary. So you have to keep that in mind. Always play the primary game, like kill what's necessary on the primary. The first thing I like to target to into the that matchup is the Vindicator. The Vindicators are really good into us. So you really want to kill the Vindicator as soon as you can. It's a tough chassis for us, and then they do a lot of work against us. So if you can get the Vindicator quickly, if I commit Fulgrim, most of the time will be to go on to a Vindicator. I find like the Executioner is a little bit more dicey to kill Fulgrim compared to a Vindicator, especially if he keeps reroll for a number of shots. Vindicator can kill Fulgrim pretty quickly. So if we can kill the Vindicator and then be in his line with Fulgrim, it could be a problem for the Ultramarine. You have to make sure you don't commit Fulgrim too quickly too, alone, like by himself, because then he's just going to die without having the Ultramarines commit anything significantly. So most of the time I'll commit Fulgrim on turn 3 if I can. That's the right turn most of the time for me to commit Fulgrim, unless I'm playing against Ultramarine that's a little bit more aggressive and like push forward on turn 2, then I'll commit Fulgrim turn 2. But most Ultramarine player will just stay back and commit whatever they need to commit to score, and then shoot you off the board basically. So you want to make sure that when you commit your army, you just don't go in like a little wave by little wave. But that's for most of our games. When we go for a go turn, we have to make sure that that we stage properly, and then we hit them as hard as possible while still scoring and making sure that their scoring is impacted. So always more important to screw their primary than killing a target. So yes, I said go for the Vindicator, but if the Vindicator is way back and then you have a Repulsor on objective, and then he's going to score 5 if you don't go for that Repulsor versus going for that Vindicator, then go for the Repulsor. You want to cancel their primary as much as possible, and while still scoring on your side. That's all most of your game you'll win anyways. Use your poison, like I said, as much as possible. That will help you on the long game. The fight first on Fulgrim is really good in that matchup because Vitrix wants nothing to do with fight first Fulgrim, especially if you can spend 1 CP to have full reroll to it and wound into them with AP3. They don't like that at all. And then you keep your blood surge also to try to tag a unit. So as soon as the first unit shot you, let's say he starts shooting you with a Repulsor Executioner, and then you got your 4 up, or like you just do 1 damage with his little guns or stuff like that, or he starts to shoot you with the +1 to hit. Marine there that gives you +1 to it. I can't remember their name with the mine. Then you just move into blood surge, so he's gonna have the -1 to hit back if you can, if it's worth it. If you see that he just like gonna shoot everything into Fulgrim and Fulgrim will die, then don't even try to save him. Just make sure that he cannot shot anything else, or if he can shoot a lot of your army, then try to protect Fulgrim as much as you can. So he has to put a lot of activation into him. So there's 2 strategy. If he just like position himself to kill Fulgrim and nothing else, then just let Fulgrim die. It doesn't matter. Don't waste any CP into him. But if he position himself to be able to kill Fulgrim, let's say with the first Vindicator, and then the second Vindicator can shoot another of your valuable unit, then try to save Fulgrim on the first activation. So he has to put the second Vindicator into Fulgrim. So that's a judgment call, depending on what's on the table. But this is how I use my Fulgrim in that matchup. Is I'll commit to kill either a Vindicator or something that's valuable, and in exchange I'll try to set Fulgrim that it's going to be at least 2 or 3 shooting unit to kill him, and then I'm winning that trade if he has to spend 2 or 3 units to kill Fulgrim, and then I kill one of his valuable unit. It doesn't matter about points. What matters is if I gain some ground by doing that. If I push him back and he's not scoring his primary while I'm still scoring, I don't care if Fulgrim dies. That's the important point about Fulgrim in that matchup. He's also AP4, fight first. There's a lot of, and then the poison everywhere, like I said, that you spread. So he's really valuable in that matchup. I know like most people on the internet will tell you that Fulgrim is not good, and then he's not, especially in Marines, he's not good because he's going to die easily. But this is something you have to learn, is to play Fulgrim the right way and to use him to your advantage to score a lot of points. Well, even if he dies, but you scored your points. Like I said before, when you commit, make sure that you stage for the turns after as well, that you have like your, let's say you come in on turn 3 hard, then you still have to have a wave on turn 4 to finish off whatever you didn't kill on turn 3 while still maintaining your primary advantage, and this is how you're going to win that matchup. If you do not do that, then Ultramarines will just pick you apart and then you'll die. Like if you try to do a normal game of just like, oh, I'm trading, you're trading, Ultramarines will just win that game for sure. You need to be a little bit smarter and play the advantage we have with our speed. And then now the big question, is Coterie better or not in that matchup? Personally, I think that Court of the Phoenician is way better in that matchup than Coterie. The reason is simple. The fact that we have +1 strength, +1 AP, and then we can always get the AP also on our Noise Marines. For me, it's massive. I see a big difference, like our Mauler Fiend, for example, charging AP3 versus AP2, versus like he could do Armor of Contempt and it's only AP1. That's very big for us. Like the Mauler Fiend will be very good into that matchup as well. The fact that we can stage and move through walls too, that's very big for us in that matchup. Other than that, if we cannot move through walls, then Fulgrim basically cannot play that matchup. Like he's gonna get shot to death. And then Mauler Fiend just staging and then being able to, after that, charge an Executioner like through walls, going for that AP3, either in a Vindicator or an Executioner. It's always good. And then they can't have Armor of Contempt everywhere, so like that AP will matter in that matchup. So for that reason, I think Court is way better than Cordery in that matchup. Like I said, it's not every matchup that Court is better, but for this specific matchup, I really enjoy having Court of the Phoenician. So that's it for that matchup analysis, guys. So hopefully you liked it, and then you can leave a comment below and subscribe, of course, because like I still have the goal of having as many subscribers as I can to tell my boys every day. And then with the comment, if I have some comments in there, I'll pick the next that I see in the comment for analysis, the next matchup. Thanks for watching, guys.